I have Kickstarter, bookmarks, link, description, news, now. Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host Daniel Green, and today we have some really exciting fantasy news. If you have been keeping up recently with the news in the channel, you will know that the mill of Hollywood has been churning with the idea of allowing Mike Flanagan to direct a Dark Tower adaptation. Mike Flanagan is someone who not only has a history of being successful in horror, but being successful in adapting Stephen King horror and Stephen King-esque horror. And he has been talking about how it is his dream, his big old whale, to be able to take on a Dark Tower adaptation, and I'm happy to tell you that that is officially happening. Not only is it a fantasy series I really want to see adapted, it is my personal favorite pick when considering their resume director for this adaptation to be done. Getting into the details of the interview, here's exactly what we know as of now. Speaking about projects based on well-known IPs, is there something you have in the works in that area? You're the first person we're saying this to, Flanagan said, but yes. Predating our deal with Amazon, we acquired the rights to The Dark Tower, which if you know anything about me, you know it has been my holy grail of a project for most of my life. We actually have those rights carved out of our Amazon deal, which doesn't mean they can't or won't get behind it at some point. You don't know. But that's something we've been developing ourselves, and we're really passionate about finally getting it up on its feet at some point. Personal note, that's my interpretation of how I imagined he answered. I cannot say whether or not my tone is correct. How far along in development are you? I wrote a pilot. We view it as a series that's going at least 5 seasons. Very important detail there. And having lived with this project as long as I have an enormous amount of it worked out in my brain. But I have a pilot script I'm thrilled with, and a very detailed outline for the first season, and a broader outline for the subsequent seasons. I'll tell you, more than half my life, I've closed my eyes and been able to watch a lot of this play out. I've dreamed about this. The first shot, which comes right off the first incredible sentence of the first book, The Gunslinger. I've had that image just rattling around my head since I was an undergrad. It's going to have to get out there eventually. I really need to get it out of my head. And when asked about his conversations with Stephen King, Flanagan said, absolutely. This happened because I sent him a very, very detailed outline of what I wanted to do with it. And it was in response to that he gave us the rights. A project like this, I wouldn't want to be involved in at all if we were going to take it in a direction that would be blasphemous to the Stephen King material. But he's been very, very supportive and excited about what we'd like to do with it. So just summarizing what we read there, not only does Mike Flanagan have the rights to do 5 seasons of a outlined Dark Tower show he's already written the pilot of and a detailed outline of the first season, but also his pitch was good enough to get a blessing from Stephen King, and while he has signed a big long-term contract with Amazon, they aren't necessarily going to be the ones adapting it, though they still could. And on top of that, Flanagan just went into detail about how he's had this vision and understanding of the material, and that makes me so excited because yes, not only is he a qualified King-esque horror director, but he definitely understands the source material. All of that is exactly how I would want to see Dark Tower get adapted, and so while I try to keep the hype down and I try to not be excited, do you think I'm doing a good job right now? Yeah! There's of course a few more things that need to line up for this to be a smash hit success, and things could always go poorly, but in terms of being on a trajectory to be the exact kind of adaptation of Dark Tower I think the fans would love and deserve, I couldn't imagine a better start. But we're gonna jump on from that piece of news to another very exciting piece of fantasy news, and that's going to be around Martha Wells' next Murderbot book. Yes, it has been announced and will be coming to shelves fall of 2023, titled System Collapse. It's a very good dig. Possibly my favorite ongoing sci-fi series, Murderbot tells the story of a socially anxious murderbot set in a corporate sci-fi dystopia trying to figure out a grand mystery of its past. And so while Murderbot fans are probably still excited of the kind of recent news of yes, a Murderbot adaptation is being considered, shopped around right now, but to tide us over while we wait for an update there, another book gets laid right here. It's just a good day for fantasy news! like to hurt my teeth. And we just got our first look at Dune Awkening, a survival MMO taking place on Arrakis that is going to be a next-gen multi-console game coming to Steam, the PlayStation, and Xbox. Now, I do want to say this is a pre-alpha teaser, so we don't know too much aside from just it being developed in-game, so it looks very next-gen. But of course, my excitement as a fan is pretty high. I mean, that sounds really awesome, though I'm not particularly partial to MMOs. A survival Dune game on Arrakis with some Dooney worms. Go ahead and sign me up. And this is being made by Funcom, which is the company behind things like the Conan video games, Dune, Spice Wars, and Mutant Year One. No release date is known, just a concept with some looks of in-game footage stuff or in-engine stuff, and for now, we'll have to sit and wait for more. And in something I considered possibly not including, but it's Tolkien related, so therefore it is fantasy related, right? Even if the book isn't necessarily fantasy. You need to let me know in the comments down below on that. But we are getting the Battle of Maldon, described as the first ever standalone edition of one of Tolkien's most important poetic dramas that explores timely themes such as the nature of heroism and chivalry during war, and which features unabridged and never before seen texts and drafts. Now, whenever we cover one of these new Tolkien books that's kind of just taking a piece of his previously published work and putting as much additional material around it as possible and putting it out, there seems to be some Tolkien fans who kind of push back on it and are like, how many times can we do this? We're just republishing Tolkien's words at this point. And I understand that stance. I really do, but I also know, especially with including all kinds of drafts and things around it, for the mega Tolkien fans, it can still be kind of exciting to just see like how he developed, what he went through, his thought process. So no, I don't think this is necessarily going to be like a mad seller that flies off the shelf, but it's also not going to hurt Tolkien's legacy, and unless he had like explicitly stated he did not want these writings put out, which if he did and I wasn't aware, link in the comments down below, I'd love to know that. I don't really see the harm in it either. And while it might not necessarily be the case with this specific story, there have also just been kind of hard to find previously published bits of Tolkien work republished and made more readily available for fans, and I'm also fine with that. But that is just my opinion, and I look forward to the debate that it sparks in the comments down below. But while we're on the Tolkien news, we might as well cover the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power news, because they have announced 8 additional cast members to be joining the show for season 2. This includes Oliver Alvin Wilson, Stuart Bowman, Gavi Shara, William Chubb, Kevin Eldon, Will Keane, Selena Lowe, and Callum Lynch. And if we're hitting quickie show news, I might as well let you know that Shadow and Bone Season 2 will be premiering on Netflix March 16th of next year. And in a final piece of quickie news, it seems that Amazon Studio is sounding the horn, looking for pitches for a new Stargate, a franchise that I was always on the impression it was like the rival of Battlestar Galactica when I was a kid, and I was always like, Battlestar Galactica, not Stargate. And I have absolutely no idea why I thought that, and probably should go back and watch some Stargate. And today's video is brought to you by Ridge. I'm a modern man, and I like a lean, slim, protecting wallet, and that's exactly where Ridge comes in. They have a modern design that can hold up to 12 cards with cash. So if you're interested in choosing from over 30 different styles, I'm partial to the carbon fiber, you can go down to my link in the description down below and try Ridge. 45 days risk-free, and if you're not happy, you'll get that refund. Wallets aren't necessarily your thing? Well, don't worry, because they have a nice key case to stop them keys from jingle jangling. So you could get up to 40% off by just using my link in the description down below, ridge.com/green, between now and December 22nd of 2022. And in the last piece of fantasy news we're going to be covering here today, don't know why I did like this, it seems that Elden Ring has released a massive free update, which includes a PvP arena for players to fight against each other. Now, for those of you unaware why I would care about this, for a little while on my Twitch channel... No! Ah! Oh, I didn't die. That's nice. I was actually hosting Dark Souls tournaments on Twitch, having PvP fights from members of the Goblin Horde. Maras kicked ass and apparently friendships were made. And if enough people are interested, I would happily do this again for us all to spectate and enjoy a tournament for Elden Ring. Let me know if you're interested in the comments down below, because I think that'd be a lot of fun. We called it Dark Bridge, and it was special. But this has just been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and back the Kickstarter if you'd like to get one of these limited edition deluxe bookmarks for yourself. Obviously, my favorite story of the day is going to be the Dark Tower news. Hell yeah. And congratulations to for winning yesterday's giveaway. Have a good one, y'all. Bye!